In the heart of ancient Egypt, long before the pyramids were bathed in golden sunlight, there lived a woman of unmatched beauty and power, Cleopatra. But she was no ordinary queen. Born under a rare alignment of stars, Cleopatra was destined for something far greater than mortal reign. She was the daughter of the Nile, a mystical being tied to the very soul of Egypt. The legend began when Cleopatra, as a young princess, discovered an ancient relic buried deep within the sands, a golden anklet adorned with symbols of the gods. The moment she touched it, a surge of energy coursed through her veins, awakening a dormant power within. This relic was no mere ornament, it was a gift from Isis, the goddess of magic, fertility, and motherhood. With it, Cleopatra could control the sands, summon the spirits of the Nile, and communicate with the gods themselves. As Cleopatra grew, so did her powers. She became the protector of Egypt, revered not just as a queen but as a divine figure. Her eyes could see beyond the physical world, into the realm of spirits and ancient gods. With a mere whisper, she could command the winds to shift, the river to flood or recede, and the sands to swirl into storms that would drive away her enemies. But power of this magnitude came with its burdens. The gods, though benevolent, were also demanding. They required Cleopatra to maintain the balance between the mortal world and the divine. She became the bridge between the living and the dead, the sun and the moon, the desert and the oasis. In her dreams, she would meet with the gods, seeking their guidance and offering her loyalty. One night, as the full moon cast a silvery glow over the Nile, Cleopatra was visited by Anubis, the god of the afterlife. He warned her of a great darkness approaching, a force that sought to shroud Egypt in eternal night. This darkness was embodied in a sorcerer named Seti, a former high priest who had turned to forbidden magic in a quest for immortality. Seti had learned of Cleopatra's powers and sought to steal them for himself, to become a god among men. Cleopatra knew that she alone could stop Seti. She journeyed to the temple of Isis, deep in the desert, where she performed a ritual to enhance her powers. With the anklet glowing like the sun, Cleopatra summoned the spirits of her ancestors, who bestowed upon her the wisdom of ages. She was now ready to face Seti. The battle took place in the Valley of the Kings, under a sky swirling with unnatural storms. Seti unleashed his dark magic, commanding the dead to rise and the sands to turn to fire. But Cleopatra, radiant and unyielding, called upon the full power of the gods. The winds howled in her favor, and the sands danced to her command. With a wave of her hand, she banished Seti's dark forces, trapping his soul in the very sands he sought to control. As the sun rose, the land was restored to peace. But Cleopatra knew that this victory came with a price. The gods demanded her immortality. She was to become one with the Nile, her spirit forever intertwined with the river that was the lifeblood of Egypt. Cleopatra accepted her fate with grace, knowing that her sacrifice would ensure the prosperity of her people. On the day of her ascension, the Nile overflowed with water as clear as crystal, and the desert bloomed with life. Cleopatra walked into the river, the golden anklet glowing brighter with each step. As she submerged herself, the waters embraced her, and she disappeared beneath the surface, becoming one with the Nile. Legend has it that Cleopatra's spirit still watches over Egypt. When the Nile floods, it is said to be her tears of joy, blessing the land with fertility. And when the desert sands shift, it is Cleopatra's power, reminding the world of the mystical queen who became a goddess, eternal and unforgotten. In this story, Cleopatra transcends her historical identity to become a figure of myth, embodying the spiritual and mystical essence of ancient Egypt.